What's happening, everyone? It is Saturday, and God blessed us with another chance. Therefore, do not discontinue good things out of fear. It is time to pick up where you've left off. What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to Safe Space Saturdays, picking up where you've left off. And today we're going to be picking up where we've left off when it comes to financial literacy. When it comes to financial literacy, it can mean one of these many topics for discussion. Realizing how personal and economic factors impact a household's financial situation, being able to apply basic time value of money concepts, developing a balance sheet, creating a budget and then tracking income and expenses on a monthly basis, calculating and managing personal taxes, knowing the costs and benefits of borrowing money, determining basic saving and investing choices, understanding the role insurance plays in managing uncertainty, planning for unforeseen life and death issues, and or being able to navigate effectively through the financial marketplace. When we think about either of these things, we should consider our financial risk tolerance, which is the willingness to engage in financial endeavors that have uncertain outcomes. Now, when I think about my financial risk tolerance, I know that it is high as an entrepreneur, but I also think about my emotional intelligence, how I feel when I have wins and how I feel when I have losses. But most importantly, when I have losses, because my feelings can get in the way of what matters most in the midst of me feeling like I've lost something. I am secure with myself and what I have to offer in friendships, in a business, in a relationship, or to my children. But if I were to control any of these relationships out of emotion, to me, that means that I will always want to protect myself to have a desired outcome. And so, one of the many ways to avoid taking control based on my emotions is by observing and or listening before I react to anything ahead of me. And depending on how I respond to the matter of any situation, I can reflect and say to myself, okay, now, Vanessa, that was out of emotion, and move forward knowing that you should do better while taking accountability in addressing the matter if it was a shared experience with someone else. This leads to behavioral outcomes. The outcomes of the things that we have or do not have can be based on how we behaved in order to obtain those things. You follow instructions on what it took to get your house. You follow instructions on what it took to get your car, the desired project of your home makeover, a number of things that took courage and motivation to follow through on that you cannot do alone. There is always someone sitting across the desk for you to make a deal with. And if we don't practice emotional intelligence, we could lose sight of the whole objective to surpass the level of making that deal. And that's when we should take things into perspective because you don't want to go home empty handed. So, this brings me to talk about two things: human capital and social capital. Human capital is our ability and willingness to work, learn, earn, and make wise decisions about how to save and invest money. Social capital is how you are able to form connections with other people, as such as your social capital will affect your human capital, particularly how much you earn over your working lifespan. Human capital is our most valuable asset that we own because this has to do with our ability, and to be able is to take care of ourselves. Now, the older we get, our human capital can decrease based on how we take care of ourselves. So it is important to invest in our well being while building our social capital. The next two words that I want you to think about is surplus and deficit. A surplus means that you have planned well and you have your money working for you. Now, what I'm about to ask you to do may be inconvenient for some of us, but I really want you to sit down and observe how much you make annually and then deduct your annual bills that kind of don't change, like your rent, mortgage, or your phone bill, your gas, electric, water bill, your kids' tuition, if any, your household essentials that you either buy weekly or monthly, gas for your car insurance, and or car payments, right? It doesn't matter if any of these bills fluctuate, deduct them from your annual income. And the amount results as your surplus, meaning the money that you have left over every check to spend. Now divide that number by 12, and that will give you roughly the monthly amount on a yearly basis that you should consider making money moves with or save. We could tend to overlook having a savings that we can use for emergencies if we don't spend our surplus well. But if we do the work and pay attention to what's going out of our pockets and what's coming in, I know that we would consider taking our savings more seriously. Because long term, right? When we retire, we will have money in addition to. In addition to may mean Medicare. In addition to may mean a pension or anything of the sort that we have the benefit to automatically grow long term. You will also have your personal savings. And these savings can have an effect on your generational wealth in the most positive way, depending on what you invest in with that money. Now, this is where we got to get control of our emotions, right? Because God did not give us the spirit of fear. So if there is anyone watching this that even begins to overthink about what I'm saying, I want to let you know now that you can do anything that you put your mind to. So deficit, right? Even when we think about the word deficit, which indicates that your expenses exceed your income. This is something that I currently struggle with, having rent, gas, electric, water, car note, the maintenance of my mom, my kids, such as haircuts, shoe sizes, clothes, tuition, did I say car note? And so I drive Instacart in order to add to my surplus. It does take a while to adjust to things in a consistent manner of saving most of your surplus when you are the sole provider of your family, but it can be done if you decide that you're going to do the right things with your money. And not everyone watching this video is a single parent like me, right? Some of you may be married or have a long-term partner that you trust to build financially with, or even have a village that provides financial relief for you in some way, shape, or form. And I'm speaking to generations younger and older than me, but I am yelling at my own generation because we can tend to mess up our surplus easily just by going out or having some type of bad habit, such as drinking or of the green substance. Now, I myself used to smoke, and I'm proud to say that I no longer do and don't have the desire to, but that was a bad habit that used to mess up my surplus. And more recently, I broke my sobriety of drinking by convincing myself that wine isn't so bad to have because I used to drink hard liquor every day. So when I broke my sobriety, I thought I was doing something by only drinking wine, that I would feel fine while managing everything. But the problem is, I bought as much wine that I would buy hard liquor, so I went backwards. And I didn't see the loss initially because it was $7.99 on a bottle of wine, right? But times that by 7, it's almost $60. Times that by 4 weeks, that's $240 a month. That's a whole bill. So safe to say I snapped out of that rather quickly. It didn't do anything for me like I thought it would. I woke up to the same problems that I was trying to run from, okay? And so when I did snap out of that, I was able to start over and paying attention to my surplus without having an unnecessary bill, such as something that isn't even good for my health, making ruin for my human capital. And it's not worth it, right? But so many of us, especially what I've seen in my generation, we can fall into this trap of partying our money away when we should be focused on our income and what we choose to put out monthly. It can really be a motivating factor in what we choose to spend our money on when we think about our surplus. So think about these 4 things: human capital, social capital, surplus, and deficit. And if I can do it with 4 kids as a single parent, you can do it with your full plate as well. And there will be people along the way who won't like you for changing your mind about how you choose your forwardness when you say, hey, I don't want to drink, I don't want to go out, I don't want to smoke. So don't be surprised now when your energy irritates people who are not thinking about where they are going in life. Our positive energy can either disturb the negativity in most people or motivate them. So don't take anything personal on this journey, because one thing for sure, 2 things for certain, and 3 things that's definite: we can't avoid people. We interact with people every day. And like I stated in episode 1, everyone wants to be used. So it is important to pray for discernment when dealing with people. Okay, so that is what I wanted to share with you all this Saturday. And I have to wrap things up pretty soon before my household awakens and everyone is talking and barking. So, if you do want a part two for next Saturday to be on more things financial, feel free to comment and I'd be happy to speak on more of all things financial. But the biggest takeaway for episode 2 is to be observant of your annual income in order to save effectively and invest effectively for the sake of your future. It takes time to save, right? And so don't be discouraged and mess up your savings by not thinking long term. Man, it just don't look like the amount I thought I would have. It takes time. Do not be discouraged. Factor in the fact that emergencies will come and go, but the younger you start saving, the more you will have when you're older, with or without a business. But the older you start saving, the less you will have when you become older. And so becoming business minded comes into play more often, right? Having a side hustle and things of that nature, which takes hard work and can wear on our bodies. So start saving in or investing today. Don't let yourself get a day older without thinking of what to do with your surplus. Pick up where you've left off, and I will see you guys next Saturday. If you made it to the end of this week's episode in Safe Space Saturdays, picking up where you left off, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for engaging. And I want to let you guys know that I do want to give you guys a chance to connect. If you're interested in having a conversation with me during Safe Space Saturdays, picking up where you've left off, you can put your inquiry in via email, which is discoveredandknown.2020@gmail.com, and we can discuss whether it would be over the phone or on a Zoom. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys in next week's episode.